An unfavorable comparison of pod homes to the Roman insula was made recently, and the comparison wasn't entirely unwarranted. The idea is to provide the most basic housing possible. Unfortunately, the Romans didn't quite have the ability to go to this level. The comparison was that Rome treated their poor better. However, I have been there and I have done that. Even a pod home would have been an improvement over being kept awake 3 days in a row every week, and in winter, even more so as the rain poured down on the roof of my car, making sleeping very difficult. Um, the insula of Rome, the actual words used was the tenements of New York, um, which was basically a warehouse with cots set up. And you got a little area and you could stay in your area, and that's about it. Um, I'd like to think that we go a little bit above and beyond that. After all, you can close your door and the noise and chaos of the world outside doesn't bother you. Um, you can sleep, and if everybody's outside's fighting, what? Fine, let them fight. Just keep it down. Somebody comes home drunk, and if they don't wake you up, it wasn't a problem. Apparently, it was not a problem. The insula also did not usually provide food, so I'd like to believe we've got them beat there. Um, but the fact of the matter is, it was not an entirely unwarranted comparison. A comment I saw: you cannot simply house people out of the throes of addiction. This makes several assumptions that are not, strictly speaking, true. First is either the assumption all homeless are drug addicts, or that all drug addicts are homeless, or both. Probably the first one and not the second or third. And obviously, that's not correct. Second, it assumes that drug addiction leads to homelessness. The reality is about half of all homeless drug addicts become addicts after homelessness. They get high either to check out for a while or to stay awake for 3 days straight, particularly meth addicts, so they don't get beaten and robbed in their sleep, or simply to kill themselves. I mean that's the reality. It's about half of all uh, drug overdoses are suicides. They're just listed as accidental because it's easier than fighting with the family of the departed. Significant numbers start out using significant number of homeless start out using in order to get addict drug addict homeless benefits, but once they complete the treatment process, they're right back out on the streets, no better off than when they started, because our supposedly better cut holes in the safety net big enough for an elephant to safely run through. Given a chance, 95% of these homeless addicts will return to society. The real number is around 105%, but 95 of the percent of the addicts will return. 95% of the addicts will versus the 10% of those who started using as a way to get off the streets. All right. So you got this 10% who only started using to get off the streets, and 95% of addicts who, given the chance, return to society, clean and sober, and much wiser for the difference. The only metric here of interest is, can you be a quiet addict? Can you climb into your pod and be quiet for your neighbors who may be asleep? And if the answer is yes, then the three wise men table will be open in the morning and you should use it. Come in, sleep off that first night. Next morning, as soon as you wake up, go down and and talk to the three wise men. It might be only one wise man at this table, but he will set you up with the others.